NBC News, this is Today with Lester Holt and Amy Robach, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Janice, thank you. Now to our ongoing series, Addicted To. And this morning we're talking about food. Food addicts are compulsive, secretive, and full of shame. We sat down with two recovering addicts, one a member of Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous, to learn about their very different struggles.
If I was awake, I was thinking about food. It was a 24-hour obsession.
We'll call her Mary, a 58-year-old woman who says she used food to medicate feelings of doubt and insecurity.
Things like Sara Lee cheesecake. I could not eat one bite or one piece. It had to be the whole thing. I would love to find some deserted McDonald's with an upstairs and take some junky magazines and order 3 super-sized fries and a couple of quarter-pounder cheeseburgers. And the more horrible I felt, the more I would eat.
New York attorney Eddie Whipper says it's hard to beat a food addiction when people around you have to eat.
If you're an alcoholic or you're a drug addict, people know to keep the stuff away from you. When you go to a restaurant, people still order cake, people still order bread.
Food addicts say certain foods like bread and sugar tend to set off their binges, which raises the question, do some foods actually have addictive properties?
Some people have been telling us for years and years that food has overwhelmed them, and society and scientists have just blamed it on lack of willpower. But in fact, now we believe that there's some brain chemistry underlying this sort of thing.
Brain imaging studies show similar brain circuits are disrupted in drug addicts and the obese. And animal studies show high sugar diets activate the same parts of the brain as morphine.
People talk about being chocoholics. They're carbohydrate cravers. They need their fix of sugar. They need their caffeine in the morning.
For Eddie and Mary, overcoming the compulsion to overeat has been a physical and spiritual journey.
Everybody says one day at a time, you know, we've all heard that, and I like to think about it more of, you know, one convenience store at a time.
Mary is stuck to the Food Addicts Recovery Program for 5 years now.
I just would love to be able to give hope to people out there who might have heard something similar in my story.
Dr. Ira Sacker specializes in eating disorders and is the author of Regaining Yourself, Breaking Free from the Eating Disorder Identity. Dr. Sacker, good morning.
Good morning.
So is food addiction a type of eating disorder?
Well, food addiction begins oftentimes as disordered eating, and then as it gets worse, it does become an actual eating disorder.
I mean, I think a lot of people jokingly might say, you know, I can't help myself, I overeat all the time, I'll go on binges. Does that necessarily mean you have a food addiction? What's the distinction?
Well, food addictions, okay, have a number of things that are associated with them. One is thinking about food constantly. You feel that you're out of control regarding food. You're unable to control your cravings. You kind of plan your binges. Oftentimes, you could be a closet eater. So that all these things together usually add to a major food addiction.
And does the social stigma of being overweight make it more difficult for people to recognize this and seek help for it?
Yeah, I think that the social stigma of this whole concept is a major issue, because I think people look at it as willpower or won't power,
right,
and they don't see it as a real disorder, and some people even see it as a disease. And I think, you know, like alcoholism or other drug addictions, we look at it as we can take away the issue. With food, you can't take away. Okay, food we've got to deal with.
Right, exactly. It's not like when you're an alcoholic and you say I'm an alcoholic, you stay away from all alcoholic drinks. You can't do that with food. So what help is there out there for people who are food addicts?
Well, there's a number of things. First of all, one has to get away from the denial. One has to first admit that there's an issue and become aware of it. Second of all, they need to recognize that it may be a medical problem and seek medical attention. And third, look for somebody who specializes in eating disorders, because that becomes the key.
All right, Dr. Ira Sacker, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
So welcome.
And for more information on the Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous program, you can head to our website, todayshow.com.